Hello everyone, my name's Dan. This is my company, DURTY, and I started it about 3 years ago. I'm going to give you a talk today that covers a little bit about what we do, to explain a bit of background into, as a company, what we offer as a service to our clients, which will hopefully explain to you a little bit about what is available in our industry, or if you were to come and look at what we do day to day, this sort of stuff that we get up to. And then I'm going to kind of skim over that and hopefully talk a bit more about my background and how I got to where I am. And I'm also going to let my colleague Terry, who's holding the phone over there, come over and talk, because Terry actually joined DURTY a year ago after this event as an apprentice, so obviously not at your guys' age or level, but retraining into a whole new field using an apprenticeship. So he's obviously got some first-hand knowledge. At any point, if I'm talking through this stuff and you're not sure, because it is quite technical, or if we get into an area that you're not clear, just put your hand up and just ask a question. That's absolutely fine. I'm not talking at you. You're welcome to, which you won't, but you're welcome to if you want to talk to me. So, quick show of hands. Has anybody heard the terms CGI, VFX, 3D animation? Is that okay? This is a good show of hands there. So, and same people that have heard of it, do you know what that refers to? Are you familiar with the concepts or not? One person is great. Okay, thanks, Greg. Gotcha. So when we're talking about this kind of stuff, we're talking about CGI and VFX and all that kind of stuff. It's all computer-generated content. So you may work that into real-world footage, like if you're watching a movie and you see explosions happening and things on screen, and you're seeing all the green screen stuff that's filmed. That's using CGI and 3D animation in the background to obviously to augment the computer-generated content. So you're using a real-world item and you're putting it into CG, and people believe it and they watch it in movies. I think it's cool. You've also got 3D animation, which covers a whole wide range of things. But the problem is, I think, when I speak to students, when I speak to young people, they've heard of VFX. They know, like, film industry, and they know that they can go into London and become a runner for one of these big VFX companies, and they know that gaming exists, and they might want to say, I want to be a game designer, I want to go off and create characters, or I want to do level design, or I want to be a concept artist. But actually those skills that you've got for those industries can be applied outside of those two main streams, but people aren't really aware of that. So I'm talking today about, when I say new world of visualization, I'm saying it's the same skills, the same techniques that you might be learning at college or sixth form or university, but applied in a different way for a different company such as mine. So who are we? I need to remember to breathe. I always forget to breathe when I'm talking. So who are DURTY? There's three of us, so we're not a massive company, not by any stretch, and we've been going for 3 years now. And we solve problems for our clients, basically, is the simplest way to explain it. So a lot of them are engineering or manufacturing companies, or they might be medical companies who are creating a new drug or a new therapy treatment for something, and they struggle to explain what their product is or how it works, and they could try and write it all down, but it's very complicated. It needs to be visual, but it also needs to be very scientific, very technical, very accurate. And a lot of these companies, they want to make it interactive, because if you just sit there and watch something, you're less likely to retain that information than if you actually interact with it. If it's something that you can touch on a touch screen, or if you can put a VR headset on or AR, it's just scientific fact that you will remember that more because you've experienced that, you will remember it. And a lot of our clients will spend a lot of money at trade shows and events. That's how they get their product in front of other companies, in front of other businesses. So a medical company may need doctors or physicians or hospitals to prescribe their drug or their therapy treatment. An engineering company will need other, you've got somebody maybe coming up with a new conveyor system that works in warehouses. They need to sell that to Amazon. Amazon need to understand how that product works. So they meet these guys at exhibitions, and they're trying to get people to their stand to experience their stuff. So that's the kind of things that we produce, basically. Does that make sense? Good. Just nod. Here's a brief showreel of some of the stuff that we've done recently. There's one guy's head in it, and he's real. Everything else is CGI. So everything else you see in here is CGI. There's no sound to this, is there? So I can talk through it. Cool. So you can all listen to my lovely voice as I talk you through it. This is our logo. So this was a blender that we did for a client that do plastics manufacturing. So they were like, we've got this product and it's quite boring, it doesn't look very good. Can we make like an Apple style advert? So we kind of made it transparent and touchscreen and picked out these, like the touchscreen, and we picked out these key elements and we just kind of showed it, and they put this on a massive, however big it was, screen above their stand to draw people in. There's another company called Kinley who manufacture all of these like outdoor space solutions. So they do planters and the decking and stuff that sits on rooftops and that sort of thing. This is another client that I was saying that do logistics. So they'll do systems that support all these automation inside warehouses for Amazon and stuff. And this is explaining how their products, like the flooring, can support robotics and how easy it is to install and that sort of stuff. So it's all done obviously using CGI, and there's a voiceover explaining as you're watching it what's happening. Obviously in 2 minutes you can get a lot of information in there explaining about all their products. They do these little brackets that save loads of time and money and weight. If you just look at a little bracket you don't really understand it, but obviously in here we can show it in context, we can pull it all apart and show what the alternatives are if you weren't to use it, and they go, okay, great, so I can save a load of money and it's space saving and it's very visual. There's our logo again. So there's a few little bits in there just to give you a taste. Obviously, I don't want to go on and on about what we do for clients because you're not a business, we're not selling to you, but if you are interested and you want to know more, then just come and find our stand. We're giving away a full Nando's platter for whoever gets the highest VR score on our shooting game. So don't all rush at once. Actually, Nando's gave that to us to give to you, so we should thank them as well. So I mentioned that we're using this new tech to create these new ideas for clients. So they're coming to us and they're going, look, for years we've just done a really boring video, we've got a really boring website, and we show it on our stand and no one's really interested because they don't want to pick a brochure up and look at it. They're saying, I went to the movie the other day and I saw this great film, or I witnessed this thing that like Nike were doing or somebody else was doing that looked really cool. How can we make our really boring technical product exciting? And they can do that now because the technology, so VR, content authoring, so companies like myself that are just 3 people now, we can spin up and we can produce that kind of work, which couldn't be done. Like honestly, 5-10 years ago, just couldn't be done by such a small team with relatively small budget. So this field is moving very fast, and all of the companies that work behind it, even Adobe, the bigger guys that are behind the CAD software, so the software that the companies use to design cars, like Audi, for example, they're using VR now to design their cars because it's faster. They can just swap stuff out inside VR. They can have people from all over the world collaborate on a design. They can blow a car apart into 50,000 pieces. It's just mind-bending. Because it's moving at such a pace, the businesses themselves are struggling to keep up. So if you imagine you're selling a product and your competitor comes out and they've done this amazing thing that just blows everything out the water, and suddenly everyone starts buying their product, you're like, crap, we need to do this. What is it? So we then hope they're going to pick the phone up to us and we go, yeah, we did that. We're kind of a big deal. Would you like us to do it for you as well? That's the hope. So the businesses are struggling to keep up with the pace of technology, and that's where we're hoping to capitalise as a business. So as an idea of some of the businesses, some of the sectors that we work with and the problems they face, so this is important, I guess, for you to understand a background knowledge of why, what are the practical applications for the stuff that I've just talked about. So as I've mentioned, automotive, so this is like car manufacturers, companies like that, but it also extends to people like Scania or people like that who might be doing massive trucks that are hauling equipment. Everything's moving to electric. What about autonomous cars? There's just massive things shifting in that space. And again, they're all struggling to visualize it. They can't go out and make 50 prototypes. It's too expensive. So they'll do it, in VR using this kind of stuff. So collaborative design, as I've mentioned, across the world, prototyping and design qualification. Customer experience, so now Audi are launching mainly for like the R8 and top end models, but you can walk into a showroom, put a VR headset on and literally build your car in front of yourself. You can pick your colours, paintwork, interior, you can open the door, you can listen to what it sounds like when you start it up, all these sorts of things. So that's the way they're kind of moving with it. Any questions? I'm talking really fast as I go. Medical, so I mentioned this. So companies that are trying to sell drugs, first of all, by law, they can't sell drugs. They can't say, buy our drug, it's the best. We promise nothing bad will happen. They have to go to an independent body that will look at the science behind it and go, yeah, that seems totally legit to me. And they will then go and train medical professionals like doctors, people you'll go and see, your GP, who'll go, actually, this new thing has come on the market and it helps with your problem, that you've got, we can help treat it. So they'll use animation to explain to those physicians what the drug is doing inside the body. So how does it behave, when it breaks apart and it goes, let's say you've got an issue with epilepsy or something like that in your brain, how does the drug behave on the surface of the cell? What does it interact with physically? How does that, visually, how does that work? So they'll use it for training healthcare professionals, as I mentioned, like doctors, and explaining how mechanisms and even physical devices, like if you've got an asthma pump or an insulin shot, something like that. How do I use this tool? You can break it apart on screen using CGI. You can show how you put it back together, how you're supposed to use it, that kind of stuff. So construction, and inside construction they refer to it as the built environment. It's basically engineers and architects who are creating, buildings. So it could be an actual tower block like that, and they're trying to make it look good. It could be a brand new school that they're building, like a new gym hall for you or something like that. Those guys, the architects, have to realise their vision. They've got this great creative idea. They're like, it's going to be amazing. Let's sketch all this stuff out. And then they take it to the client. The client goes, well, A, it's too expensive. B, it can't actually be done. That sort of stuff. And they end up having to work that idea back to something that's actually feasible, that can be achieved. And that process is done using 3D and using CGI. So when the architect comes up with it, he might sketch out an idea, but that has to be taken into an actual software package that they can create images, look at the whole model from every angle and go, right, okay, that's, is that doorway tall enough? Have we got delivery access? All that kind of stuff. So visualizing projects, overcoming architectural problems. Like we've had clients with projects where again, the architects come up with a design, and it's not until they're due to start the project that one of the engineers has gone, actually, that's not going to work. That ceiling's going to cave in and everyone's going to have a bad day. So it's helpful for them. And again, customer experience. When you go to buy property off plan now, so a lot of the time if you were to go and buy new builds and you've got a company like Bellway who are developing 1,500 new homes, they haven't built them yet. They're asking you to go down there, look at this pile of mud, and then give them like 500 grand. You can actually do the same thing with the car. You can put a VR headset on, you can actually see your street, you can see your house, you can say, actually, I want this in the kitchen, I want this bedroom configuration, I want 2 garages, bing, 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 and they can build it that way. So it's quite cool. This is probably the least relatable, I guess, for everyone in the room, because you won't have worked with these types of companies, but for us, this represents our biggest sector. So engineering and manufacturing, and there's just so many things in day-to-day life that you will come across that you have no idea. When you walk into a building like a shopping centre like Blue Water, how on earth is that building powered? What happens if the power goes offline? How are all the shops then going to receive, backup power supply? All those sorts of things. There are loads of companies, working behind the scenes of the places that you use, even the building we're in now, to keep it going, to keep it running, and to solve problems. And those companies are the people that we deal with. And they're looking for help with prototyping, so it might be that they've come up with an idea. So Kinley, the one that I showed you that had the outdoor space with all the planters and the trees and the terrace system, they may come up with a new idea, but they can't afford to manufacture it. They can't afford to make it and show it to customers. It's not practical. They can't take a massive bench down to a customer and dunk it in front of them. So they want us to come up and make it look like it's real. They say, we've got this new idea for this product. We're pretty sure it's going to work. They design it, we do the image, and they go and sell it to a customer. So everyone know this guy? Hopefully. I don't know why he became the mainstay of our presentation, but he has. But what I thought was quite interesting about this was it's a constant struggle. So Scrat's always struggling to get his nut, and things go wrong all the time. And it's a similar thing for the businesses. The businesses are struggling, as I said, to keep pace with all this stuff that's changing, and with the demands of their customers. They just can't keep up with it. So they're turning to companies like us, smaller little businesses, to help them out, to partner with their marketing teams, to help come up with the creative and solve these problems for them. And that's something that obviously can be taken advantage of. So the software and hardware that you need now to do this kind of stuff, it is affordable. I just bought a laptop, which is somewhere here, over by Terry, which was 1,600 quid. which can run pretty much all of the software. Now, even 4 years ago, we had to build a desktop machine that was £6,000 to do the same job. It's rapidly coming down in price to be able to do this kind of stuff at home. You could use the same software we use. You can do the same stuff that we do on a sensibly priced piece of equipment. And similarly, the software as well. A lot of these companies like Maxon, who do Cinema 4D, and Autodesk, I've forgotten the name of them. Yeah, Autodesk, who do 3ds Max, you may have heard of, or Maya. These are 3D software packages. They're all moving to a subscription model. So actually, you can just pay £20 a month, or less, or nothing if you're a student, and you get full access to this software. And if you need it for 3 months and you try it and you think this is great, you can keep it. If you think this is rubbish, I don't want to use it, you get rid of it. It's only cost you 60 quid. For me as a business, it was costing, £5,000–6,000 every time we wanted to try a piece of software. You have to buy the whole thing. If you don't like it, tough. You've bought it. So it's becoming affordable, and it means that you guys can start looking at these things. You can look at YouTube tutorials. You can go on Instagram and look at these daily renders that people are doing for inspiration, and you can just start creating anything you can imagine. You're not limited to a piece of paper and a pen. You can literally make anything you could possibly imagine. It's really quite amazing. And how many people here know Epic Games, Unreal Engine? Who knows Fortnite? You know Fortnite? Company behind Fortnite, Epic Games, made a vast sum of money from that game, like unfathomable amounts of billions of dollars. They've just got way too much money. So they're literally just giving it away. So they're coming up to people who, like even students, anyone who's got an idea, who wants to try and use their software, they're like, yeah, goes $1 million, there's $1 million, there's $1 million. I mean, they didn't respond to our request, but whatever. Bastards. But the great thing about that software is they are acquiring other companies really quickly. So I would strongly recommend having a look at that. It's a free piece of software, Unreal. Whether you're like us, a business, or whether you're individuals, you can make that. You can make VR experiences. You can just drag and drop stuff in VR and build a whole environment if you wanted to. You can use it for inspiration or whatever. It's completely free. It's worth downloading and having a go with. Now, it does have a learning curve. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. It's not super easy to pick up, but they've got loads of free tutorials on their own website. They've got, I think it's called the Unreal Engine, forgotten it, something or other. I need to remember what it is. Well, they've got all their tutorials and things online. You can have a look in there. Or YouTube. YouTube has vast amounts of information, completely free tutorials for Adobe After Effects, 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, Unreal Engine. All of these pieces of software you can get hold of yourselves. You can start playing with, and having a go at it. So the work is worth very good money. So the industries that we're in, these guys that are selling things, they're not selling, a cake from Mrs. Joe Bloggs down the road. They're selling serious bits of kit that are worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, or projects that are worth millions and millions of pounds. So to them, it is worth spending X number of £1,000s to promote that product. Because let's say they create a suite of videos with us, or an experience with us that's £20,000 or £30,000, it's worth it to them. If they just need to make one sale in a whole year, and they've made it back 10 times over. So we find that for them, when they see the light, when we produce these things for them, they go, this is amazing. Like, we can show our stuff to clients. It's grabbing attention on LinkedIn or on Instagram or wherever. And obviously for us, then they go, that's good. Can we do it again? So we get clients coming back and working with us. So the work is worth good money, whether you're working for a business like mine, or whether you decide to do it yourself and go freelancing, whatever. As I touched on, self-teaching is possible. In fact, it's one of the skills that I value the most. So for the massive team of 2 people that I've got, both of them are self-starters, and there's a little bit in here that explains about their background. They're not, well, Terry's doing an apprenticeship, but they're not formally trained. Neither of them had any experience at all. The first guy that came to work for me, Sean, worked on a picture framing stall in Fremlin Walk, Maidstone High Street. Bumped into him one day, he's never done it. He was like, I'll give that a go. So okay. 3-4 years later now, he's I would say well beyond university level. He knows the software. He's learned on the job. And he's completely self-taught. I've spent no money teaching him. He's learned it all from YouTube. It's all been free. So you can pursue a career like this. You can just start searching YouTube videos. You can start looking tonight, now, this afternoon on your phone, and you can start on this path. It's not going to cost you a penny. YouTube and trial versions of software. Mention that. So 3D, what have we got here? We've got Cinema 4D, which is the package that we use, and that's actually, you can get a light version of Cinema 4D with your Adobe subscription, and I'm pretty sure that still applies even if you're a student. So if you're a student and you get the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, which is what we were talking about, you get all the Adobe apps. You will also get a version of Cinema 4D that you can use. And a lot of the companies that, other companies like 3ds Max, which is made by Autodesk, or Maya, which is another one used for more visual effects, you can get versions of those as a student. Real time, so these are the ones that can do like VR or computer games, or where you're actually interacting with stuff, not just watching a video. Unreal Engine, as I've mentioned, by Epic, definitely worth having a look at. If I was picking between the two in terms of the strongest future, definitely Unreal Engine. They've got enormous amounts of money to spend. And the other one is Unity. Unity is, again, another engine that's probably slightly easier to pick up. Again, you can get both of them for free. And post-production and other bits and pieces like Photoshop, definitely the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. That's what we use internally. My journey. Scratch again, look at him, conquering that moon. So where did I start? How did I get here? I asked myself that question so many times during the day in the office. Why? Why am I here? So I always loved breaking things and putting them back together. From a young age, just rip stuff to pieces. How does it work? Put it back together again. Doesn't work. Buy another one. That's my background. Had an active interest in gaming and technology from a young age. Mum was like, "You'll never make any money from computers," and I was like, "Yeah, screw you, Mum. You don't know. You're not my real dad." I did GCSEs. I did my A-levels. I did my degree back in the day. Jesus. Back in the day, and we're going back good 15 years now, 16 years. I know, I am. It's upsetting. You guys have a lot more available to you. There was no YouTube, really. There was a YouTube, but it was nowhere near what it is now. You couldn't just pick it up and learn anything. There was no apprenticeships, really. It wasn't a thing. There wasn't that path. It was pretty much perceived, and I think a lot of parents or people in my generation still perceive it as, you go to university if you're smart, and if you don't, then you're not smart, and you stay at home and you get a job. That's it. And it's not the case now. There's so many more avenues available. But obviously, when I went through it, there wasn't. And I went off to university. I got a degree in computer science, which is very technical. And then I worked in industry for 10 years across a whole load of different places, ending up in agencies like I didn't work at Yo-Yo, but similar to Yo-Yo, and yeah, I just got to a stage where I was chasing this career ladder and getting on the property market and all this stuff, and you're just working all the time and earning more to earn more money, and I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't like it, and I had a bit of a meltdown. I was like, no, I just want to move to a mountain, and I don't want any of this stuff. And I just said, I was honest with my employer. I said, look, I'm not happy. I don't want to be here. I don't really know what I want to do. I thought, oh, I'm going to start this car renting thing. It's going to be awesome because then I can buy a Porsche Boxster. So I bought a Porsche Boxster and I started this car rental thing, and it just fell on its arse and didn't make any money. But at the same time, I started DURTY, and I wasn't really sure, if I'm honest, when I started it, what it was. I was like, the name's pretty cool, and we had a laugh about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll start it up, and maybe I'll do some like car photography or something, or I'll make a few websites or something, I don't know. And it's just snowballed. I worked from my bedroom, and I was just speaking to clients that I knew, and they were giving me the odd website project or a bit of video work, and I was doing that, and I was like, hey, I'm starting to get a few projects now, and I started outsourcing it to other people, which didn't go well because I wasn't in charge of delivering it anymore, and I wasn't making the money. So I decided to take DURTY serious. I decided to make it into its own business about 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago. So what did I want to do? I was like, well, I've tried a bit of 3D animation. I quite like that. That's cool. I was thinking, but I don't have any experience in it. I haven't got anyone to help me. I haven't got a decent PC. I don't know anything about this sector at all, and I don't have any clients. And my wife was like, yeah, do you think this is a good idea? I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. And that's where I got to. So we've obviously now 3 years on, we've got an office, we've got 3 staff, we've got a great client base of some really great clients. We've done no marketing. Everything that we've got to date has been organic, so word of mouth, referrals, people talking to other people and giving us work or calling us up. Next year we're set on a really good growth plan, which I'm excited about. We're going to start marketing, we're going to start pushing and hopefully grow. And I may see some of your faces. If you're interested in doing work experience or whatever, then get in touch. You're welcome to come down and have a look at what we do. Now, that's my journey, and very generously I've left Terry 5 minutes to do the entire rest of the presentation, because it's kind of boss I am. So Terry's obviously joined as an apprentice in January this year, and he's got some first-hand experience, I think, that he can explain to you a little bit about that journey very quickly, because I've taken ages to get there. You need to stand near me. I have to point to my nipple, actually.
Stand in front of you like this.
Yeah.
Spit on that. Strangely, I'm career training. So I worked in education for 11 years, working at St Simon's Stock, so I see a few familiar faces. I'll touch briefly on that. There's like the statistic where people say, you guys, or the next generation of people entering the employment, are going to have 5 careers in your lifetime at least. And that's like careers, that's not jobs. So I'm on like my 3rd one already. So don't feel like your apprenticeship choice or your university choice is going to be the be-all and end-all, but that's your decision, that you're not making it for life, that's just your next step. But I won't talk too much about it. I started in 2019, which...
I'm just going to stand next to you because the microphone needs to pick you up, so I'm just going to stand right here. Can you just stop?
I started
Self to part with. It's a joke. I pay him.
I used to be really like
no, it's so bad.
professional and normal when I worked in a school, and now these guys have just corrupted me, so I'm like completely set.
He's
free.
one of us.
Do you have a clicker? It's over there, isn't it?
Okay, let's go and stand over there then.
See what I start with?
There's a clicker. I didn't know that. Sorry, go on.
Technology. Again, interesting games and tech. I think it's lots of people, probably everyone in here has some sort of interest in games, whether it's an app on your phone or you've got like a PC or console at home. That is really important for me in terms of I have played games all of my life, but also, and some of the people who know me will know that, like running Eurogamer trips and stuff like that. But it's more than just playing games. So for me, outside of work, I help volunteer with a charity called Special Effect. And I'm also an ambassador for the British Esports Association. So if anyone plays Overwatch, I can give you some tips. But that's outside of work, which I do on top of what I do as for my career, because I enjoy it. And some of you guys might be thinking about what am I going to put on my UCAS application, or what am I going to put in my skills and interests on my CV for an apprenticeship. I'm putting like, I like games, without any relevant experience or reasons for that, or whatever it is you're interested in. I like marketing, I really like this advert. How in your life, or what have you done to go a next step further? So what have you done next? Anyway, I'm like trying to get out of my career mind. I'm like, career advice mind, career advice. I'm not talking about that, talk about me. Self-taught social media. So for me, I just kind of picked up digital marketing at my last job a little bit, but I didn't have any self-taught stuff. I just ran the social media channels, edited a little bit on the website, and that was it, self-taught stuff. And then now I'm retraining via an apprenticeship. I wanted to do something different. I'd met Dan a little bit in the past, once before.
Once, yeah.
And he asked me for some advice on trying to find someone for an apprenticeship, and I was like, hey, I'd like to do that apprenticeship. And he was like, do you want to do this apprenticeship? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that apprenticeship. And then here I am, a year later, I'm doing an apprenticeship. Very exciting times, isn't it? It's not going to always be like
It was more formal than that. I met all of the legal requirements as an employer. Maybe.
It's not going to be as easy as that, okay? That was like really lucky for me. Searching for a job can be really demoralising and grind you down. You have to be prepared for that, but that was just me, luckily. From knowing somebody in industry, from meeting people through networking, that's how I got that could be something. I career changed for something different. I've always had an interest in this sort of industry, like the tech stuff and graphics, but I've never thought I could really get into it. But through an apprenticeship, I've been able to learn and retrain and do something completely different. Only, how much time have I got?
Like 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Sean, he's another guy. Sean, I know Dan's already spoken to him a lot.
Yeah.
I've learnt a lot from him. He is all self-taught.
He picked this image. Wow.
Is that like time to go?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. There's not sessions going on, so people will be.
Okay.
Okay.
Skip through. You can do it. Definitely.
do it.
Follow your passion. Just use your tutorial sparing. Follow us on social media. Be kind, give back, and trust your instincts. This is important. Build a portfolio and seek out clients and employers.
Anyway.
You're welcome.